RNA is a single-stranded molecule. When it is formed, it's a single-stranded one, and then this molecule overlaps or folds on itself because we know that there are the bases. They become complementary to one another. So those complementary bases, when they come close to each other, they form those pairings. So in this way, this primary structure becomes secondary structure, and this secondary structure plays important roles as far as different functions of RNA are concerned. So we know that RNA has 4 bases. So unlike DNA where we have T, it has U, and rest of them are the same. The bases, they can pair with one another, and we know that the canonical base pairing is that's what the Watson and Crick has highlighted, where A goes with U. In case of DNA, it was T. Here in RNA, A binds with U, and then G goes with C. And G and C has triple bonds, whereas A and U have double bonds. So in addition to that, we observed some special base pairing in case of RNA. We call it as wobble pairing, where G and U they bind with one another. In addition to that, some special bases exist in RNA. We call it as I's, are actually the derivatives of inosines. They are hypoxanthine molecules actually, which are derivatives of inosine. So these I's, they can also bind with U's. I can go with A, I can go with C. So these kind of non-canonical base pairings, we call them as wobble base pairings. So here is how we can look into the base pairing, or in case of an RNA, we look into a nucleotide where we have an adenine, a purine base which has been attached to ribose sugar. On its we have it, this ribose 5 carbon sugar. This is position number 1. On position number 2 we have OH, and on position number 3 we also have OH. So that is the property which distinguishes this ribose sugar with deoxyribose sugar, where position number 2 is actually deoxygenated. So we observe both H over there. And then on the 5th carbon, the phosphate groups attached. So that is kind of similar to, the structure is kind of similar to DNA, except we have a ribose sugar instead of a deoxyribose. While we do those canonical base pairs, when G's and C's, they bind with one another, we observe the triple bonds, whereas G and U, in that case, those wobble pairs, they have double bonds. So we believe that triple pairs are more stable as compared to these double bonds. So that is the difference. So wobble pairs, base pairs, they are kind of, reduce the stability of the RNA structure. Important kinds of RNA, messenger RNA, we know that gene expression takes place in this shape. So messenger RNA is the one which codes into the proteins, and this messenger RNA actually is come from the genes by the process we call it as transcription. Same way, this transcription process can lead to formation of some other RNAs, which actually they do not code for proteins. We call them as non-coding RNAs. So examples are transfer RNA, ribosomal RNA, though both of them they help in protein synthesis, but actual code is one which is stored in messenger RNA. So in addition to that, we see there are small RNAs. We call them as SI, or small interfering RNAs. They interfere with the genes and kind of regulate their gene expression. So that's why we call them as small interfering RNA. They are obviously smaller in size. MicroRNAs, another category of small RNAs, and there is a special kind, we call it as small nucleolar RNAs, or SNO-RNA. Messenger RNA, as we said, they do translation where protein synthesis is done, proteins are formed. So transcription is the process of making RNA from DNA, whereas translation is the process of making the protein from that RNA. So that's why we call it as a coding region or a coding sequence. It can also perform some regulatory functions. Ribosomal RNA and transfer RNA, they help in protein synthesis, so they play a role in translation, but actually they are not themselves translated. Messenger RNA is translated. And then we have hnRNAs. They are kind of precursors, heterogeneous nuclear RNAs, different combination of nuclear RNAs. So they are kind of precursors and intermediates of mature RNAs or other RNAs. So when this transcription takes place in the nucleus, nucleus become mixture of different kinds of variety of RNAs. So that's why we call them as heterogeneous nuclear RNAs. Small scRNAs, with small cytoplasmic RNAs, these are where we have signal recognition particles, and they can also play a role in some tRNA processing. Then we have small nuclear, small nucleolar RNAs, and they process messenger RNA. They play roles in addition of poly A tails to those messenger RNAs, and they play roles in ribosomal RNA processing, maturation, and methylation. Regulatory RNAs, siRNAs, and microRNAs, smaller in size, so they actually regulate the transcription and translation process. And in addition to that, there have been research works going on especially this category of RNAs where their new roles have also been predicted. So mostly those non-coding RNAs, they kind of, since they need to play different regulatory roles and they perform different functions, so they appear in different secondary and tertiary structures. So here on left hand side we see a microRNA, MIR84. We see there is a long hairpin like structure. There is a long stem, and then at the top we see a loop. In transfer RNA we see actually 3 loops, and we can also see the tertiary structure of transfer RNA in this black box. Here is just a brief description to give you an idea about how small RNAs, they regulate this gene expression or different life, they control the expression of other genes. So how they bring about gene regulation. So they are prepared as double-stranded RNAs, and then these double-stranded RNAs, they are having some, they might have just a single double-stranded structure, or might be, and they may be present in the shape of a hairpin. And then there are some molecules, we call them as dicers. So they cleave their ends, and in this way they become small interfering RNA duplex. And then some other proteins called as agronauts and RISC complex, they play some important roles and make them single-stranded. Now these single-stranded molecules then go and attack on some messenger RNAs. So in this way they are kind of complementary to those messenger RNAs. So they block their expression. So we see that this specialized kind of structures are formed during this regulation, as like we see here hairpin structure here, which is actually the secondary structure. Another example is one of the small RNAs is SNO RNAs, small nucleolar RNAs. So they kind of process, or they kind of they take their target RNA and take it into their own loops. These loops are obviously their secondary structures and do some processing where they might process that target RNA. So in this way they play a role in some gene regulations. So we have briefly described different kinds of RNA. We see their important functions and importance of these secondary structures while performing those functions.